everybody. Welcome into this is a very special edition of Bedford County Sports Live. I'm Bill Anderson, your host, wearing the purple, representing the home team. And my main man, Robbie Davis, comes in wearing the orange.
Wearing the orange. Big day in Knoxville today.
Mr. Kenny Parker's with us, wearing the Green Bay Packers today.
Always.
It's a rainy day out there. I hope everybody's had a good Saturday morning, and welcome in because we got some stuff to talk about today. The infamous Robbie Davis. Hard to get that guy on here, but we're gonna talk some sports. But right now, let's hear a message from our sponsor.
For cleaners, we provide quality services you can rely on. Located in Shelbyville, we're the area's leading dry cleaner, proudly serving customers throughout Bedford County since 2001. We provide same-day dry cleaning and laundry service as well as tuxedo rentals. For customer convenience, we offer delivery and also have a drive-through and overnight drop box.
For all your dry cleaning needs, call Corner Cleaners.
Welcome back, everybody. We want to thank our third and longtime sponsor, Kincaid
Service
Company.
Right here in Shelbyville. Mark and Eve Kincaid. Stop in there and check them out because I know Kenny Parker, and I bet you Robbie Davis doesn't like this either. Hauling off something. So if you buy something, do you want to haul off a refrigerator or a stove?
Oh, absolutely not, because that usually requires a phone call to my dad. So, no.
Oh, and Leon loves that.
Oh, let me tell you.
I miss old Leon. That was one thing I could count on. If I had a tree down on the farm, and you know how they want to charge you a fortune, call Robbie's daddy. He'd take it for the firewood.
I hate to say this in front of Robbie, but you know when I go to a community basketball game, one of my first things I always do, and I know he's there, I'm going to find my idol Leon.
Yeah, absolutely.
I grew up watching that man when he was young, and that's my
he
man.
Won't tell you one time what he thinks either. He won't tell you.
No,
hard to get an opinion on Leon.
No, it's hard to, but I'm telling you, if you stick around long enough, there's a softball story coming.
Oh, it's coming.
It's coming. Yeah.
Hey guys, let's talk about something this week. We've been talking about Coach Mason up at MTSU and how he's recruiting local kids, and that's a big market difference in MTSU than we've had in the past. And this week, I think it's out here that Rocky Chandler's been offered by MTSU.
That's great. Rocky can play.
Rocky can play.
He can play.
I think there's several players up there can play.
I think that'll be big. I'm not sure. Now, it's an offer.
Right.
You know, Rocky could get – he could go better than that. So
he sure could.
That's a big step for Coach Mason and the MTSU program. How long has it been since –
That was my next question. How long has it been since MTSU offered anybody from Shelbyville?
Theron Bean.
That's what I was thinking, Theron Bean.
Yeah. Well, when Theron went there, that was – a whole lot of Coach Thaxton because they really didn't want because he was undersized.
Right.
Theron was undersized. He wasn't big enough to play. But they found out because of his academics that wasn't really going to cost him a whole lot of money. And then when he got there, offensive and defensive coaches fought over him.
You know, I think the transfer portal, too, is kind of helping this out a little bit because – you know, usually your MTSUs are going after those guys that, you know, maybe fall through the cracks of your Division I schools. Right. Well, now with the transfer portal, those guys that they find are just putting highlight film. If a kid does well against Alabama, per se, next thing you know, he's hitting the portal and trying to get to Alabama. Well, if you start recruiting the local kids and those kids that you know that you're going to have around a program for 3 or 4 years instead of just hitting that portal, I think Coach Mason is on to something here for sure.
Well, and I think that's how we've talked about on the show several times. It's how you get your attendance up.
Yes, absolutely.
You got 30 local kids on a football team, and next thing you know, everybody's bringing 10, 15, 20, 30, 40, 50 from a community to watch. Then all of a sudden, you're putting butts in the seats.
And then you're starting to go to these super conferences now, and as this thing starts to grow, I'm afraid the money gains for your MTSUs are going to start going away. So how do you make up that income? Well, you're going to have to get local kids, sell tickets, things like that. So,
and that might be a better way to go anyway from middle, because when you come out here and play 3 SEC schools at first, get yourself beat up.
Yeah.
You're 0-3, you're 1-3, whatever.
Yeah.
And it kind of sets a bad tone for the rest of the season.
It does. It really does. I mean, you know, obviously a lot of these programs, you have to play those games, to survive. But, there's only so many of those. Like you said, you get beat up and then you start going into your conference play, and now you're,
Middle couldn't afford not to play those guys. They
couldn't.
Their football budget, their other budgets, they just couldn't do it. They couldn't make it.
Yeah, I'm just afraid those days, especially as the playoffs keep to expand, eventually they're going to start cutting out one of those conference games or one of those regular season games to make it up.
And that's a big thing I read today. I saw today talking about the playoffs expanding. Well, they're going from 4 to 12. They didn't get 12 in. Now they're wanting 14, but that got nipped in the bud right quick.
Too many games.
Yeah.
Hey, while we're talking about, let's talk a little bit about some baseball. We got that started up in softball this week for everybody. I know Shelbyville's playing Murfreesboro Central Magan on the 11th. They're at Forest on the 12th. They're at Rockville on the 14th. And Cascade, I think, is at Eagleville, East Robertson, Moore County. Coach Davis, you do 2 times. Boys basketball and baseball.
I'm going to ask Coach Robbie about this. TSSAA moved this up 2 weeks. All right. You take a school like Community, Cascade, our local small schools, Central, have put kids to the boys' teams to the state. Well, if Robbie's case, if his boys' team goes to the state this year, baseball season has started before he plays in the state, and there he is coaching both teams, and probably 2/3 of his basketball players are going to play baseball.
And that actually happened in 21. In 21, when we made the state tournament in basketball, we had 3 baseball games that week. As a matter of fact, we played at 10 o'clock that Thursday morning, and that night we had a game at Huntland.
Oh, wow.
Baseball. And, are my top 3 pitchers were the basketball guys. So for the single A, the double A schools, and even, like you said, some of your bigger schools where you share the athletes, moving it up a week didn't help at all. Moving it back a week would have helped. Adding that week so where you're not playing 3 to 4 games a week would have helped. But I get the purpose of it because your bigger schools, it really does help. But I wish they'd have done it a little sooner because baseball schedules are done in May. May, June, usually they're pretty filled out. But moving it up a week, like I say, say, for example, Cannon County. Cannon County is one of those schools kind of like us. And
they went to the state in baseball last year.
Yeah, exactly right. And so you got your number 1 or 2 pitchers on the basketball team. And you'd like for them to go out there and throw a bullpen, but at the same time, you want your focus to be on winning that state championship.
Right.
So, it's a tall task when you try to do both of those, especially the kids. That's the thing, we're not thinking about the kids because you take like a Makai Fleming who played football, who started in August, and then they're done. So you get about, basketball. That's the thing about it. We only get 2 weeks of basketball practice. For some reason, I don't know why, but basketball practice starts the 1st of November. We play middle of November. Every other sport gets 4 weeks to practice. Basketball gets 2 before you start playing. So kids like that, by the time you get to baseball season, they're physically tired.
We're sitting here, we're talking baseball, but Moore County girls are playing for the state championship today. Well, most of those girls play on their softball team, and softball season started Monday. So they have yet to, and they're not going to concentrate on that other sport because they got to focus on the one that matters right now, representing their school in the state. And
now you brought up Kenny, let's talk about this run the Moore County girls are on, and look at how they won these games. If you go back to Monday the 26th, they beat Cornersville 45-43. Then on the 28th, they play again and beat Eagleville 38-36, tight games. Then they go to the Sub-State, beat McEwen 44-32. First round of the tournament, 58-55 in overtime. Close ball games.
Something in the water in Lynchburg. Something in the water.
Well, shout out to Chad Spencer and his bunch. And then they beat Greenville 38-28. They made the finals. They're going to play Pickett County, who was down to Wayne County by 10 at the half, came back and won by 5. Now, Pickett County's pretty good.
Yeah.
If you're at the state finals, you're pretty good, period.
That's exactly right.
But shout
Yeah.
out to the girls down
Yeah,
there.
shout out to Chad and the girls basketball
Super
program.
job and getting
Yeah.
things done down there, and just nice to see them
And,
make
and,
that good
and
special
good luck
run.
tonight, Chad. Good luck to the
Absolutely.
girls.
Absolutely.
Good
This
luck.
afternoon, I believe.
And
3:30.
I think they're young. I think this is a young team. I believe the majority of this team comes back. If when I talked to Chad when I saw them playing earlier, I think it's a young team.
You know,
I don't think he is a senior.
That's what I'm
Yeah, I
talking
don't
about.
think
No
so either.
seniors.
Yeah. And you know, one of the positives about being in a place like Moore County too is when you're in the same building with your 7th and 8th graders,
Mhm.
you have that ability to
Right.
move a good 8th grade kid up.
Mhm.
So you're in the same building, and a lot of those coaches, you know, like Coach Lovelace at Richland, he coaches his junior high kids and his high school kids. So being in that program basically from 6th grade to then, I mean, that's a huge benefit.
Mhm.
But you know, Chad and I went to school together, man. He's a good basketball coach, a good guy, and I promise you that gold ball is probably coming to Lynchburg.
Oh, I hope it does.
Yeah.
I do. Big girl.
Guys, let's take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk with Coach Davis a little bit, hear from our sponsors, and we're going to talk about some things that I bet a lot of folks out there didn't know. And that's a lot of the success that's happened out of community. So let's hear a break from our sponsor, Corner Cleaners and First Bank.
Cleaners, we provide quality services you can rely on. Located in Shelbyville, we're the area's leading dry cleaner, proudly serving customers throughout Bedford County since 2001. We provide same-day dry cleaning and laundry service as well as tuxedo rentals. For customer convenience, we offer delivery and also have a drive-through and overnight drop box.
For all your dry cleaning needs, call Corner Cleaners.
And a special thanks to our other sponsor, Kincaid,
Service.
Company.
right here in Shelbyville. Mark and Eve Kincaid, right here on Madison Street. They'll help you out with all of your appliances and needs. And they've got all sorts of stuff in there, from televisions to just about anything you want. And the big thing with them is they service what they sell.
Sure, if you need to, you can come into the Kenny Parker showroom, because walk through my kitchen and I can show you stuff that's come from Kincaid's.
You have stock in it, right? Is that
I've
what they
got
say? You got
stock in
in
it.
Kincaid.
That's right.
Yeah.
Coach, let's talk about some things that I think a lot of people don't realize. Since 2012, y'all have had someone in a state tournament somewhere. Is that correct?
That's correct. Yeah, since 2012, 12-13 was when I first started on the high school side there. But I believe our first, that year, my first basketball team, we went to the sub-state that year over at Mount Pleasant. And we've had a lot of success through all of our programs. 14, we went to baseball state tournament over in Riverdale. Our girls basketball team, I believe, has been 3 times to the state tournament. Boys basketball, softball, and I was on a back-to-back run here, and a lot of players coming back. The one that doesn't get enough credit is our girls soccer team. I don't know the exact number, but they have been in countless sub-state games. And I still call them sub-state. They're sectionals now.
I know, I call it sub-state.
Sub-states now. But I want to think it's some kind of, crazy number, like, 20 sub-states and sectionals that all of our sports have been in since 2012. So, yeah, I mean, that's the thing is, and you don't get that unless it starts with your administration.
Right.
Starts from the top, allowing us to kind of do the things that we need to do to be successful. And then our coaches working together, being kind of on the same page, being respectful when it's your season. You
have to share athletes.
Yeah, you have to. I mean, you don't have a choice. I mean, schools with enrollments of, less than 1,000 or even a little bit more. I mean, your best athletes don't play multiple sports. I mean, you're going to struggle. So we've had a lot of success through all of our programs. We even had a golfer, one of our ladies, make the state tournament a couple of times. So
fortunately, community, the basketball and baseball coach work really well together.
I use that a lot. It's yeah. A lot of times, we'll go, umpires, some of those guys that There's been many times I'll bring the lineup card up and I've got a number wrong, or maybe I put the number where the position is, and coach looks at it and goes, "Hey, you kind of got this backwards." I say, I'm just a basketball coach, man. I don't really know what I'm doing here. But yeah, I mean, that's what I tell the guys all the time. If you're a basketball guy messing around, and I say, look, I'm not going to tell the baseball coach what's going on.
That's right. They could be in a lot of trouble.
They could be in a lot of trouble there, boys. That's absolutely right.
But you've won 184 wins, second to Mike Edmondson in basketball.
Yeah.
5 district titles, 11 region appearances, 4 regional finals, 4 sub-states, and 1 state tournament appearance in 2012. I just don't know, 2021.
Yeah.
I don't think a lot of you out there knew that. Baseball, a lot of success too. 179 wins, 2 district titles, 2 region tourneys, 2 sub-states, and a state tournament in 2014.
Yeah, and it's players make the coaches.
Right.
I mean, it's the kids, man. You get kids that are dedicated, who are all in, and it takes the parents having to do the fundraising. Where we're at community, we there's not any businesses to draw from. So when you're doing a fundraiser, you're getting it from the same people over and over again. And if those people don't step up to help us with the things that we need, we can't be successful. But every kid that I've coached in basketball, this is kind of one of the things I'm really proud of, has played in a sub-state game. And that's a streak that we've had going now for a while. I mean, we'll have to make a run next year to keep it going. But
I thought you could have made it this year, Coach. Yeah. And I don't think a lot of people realize the fluke hit the girls and boys. It hit you all hard right there at tournament time, didn't it?
It did. It's one of those where it hit the girls team first there at the district tournament. And I can't remember how many Coach Pierce had out, but it was a pretty big number. Now, he fought an uphill battle all year because he was so young.
Right.
I mean, with 6 or 7 freshmen as being your core, being able to compete in that district, and then probably one of the hardest regions in girls basketball with Loretto and Summertown in it.
Mm-hmm. Loretta's still playing.
Loretta's still going.
They play tonight.
I mean, it's tough. And then our boys district, I mean, people don't realize how competitive, that district is. And, we had a chance there. We played really well down the stretch.
I believe there was a team in the district that beat Cannon County.
I believe there was too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we our kids were pretty motivated that night to go play. We had played them to 6 points the night before, and boys, you get a little competitive juices flowing, and and that night, that was kind of one of those those games you have where you go, okay, we got something here, So we went up there and played well, and the good thing is we got a lot of those guys coming back, and that's the best part about it is we lose Mackay, who was a big part of what we did. Judd O'Neill we lose, but pretty much the bulk of our team was underclassmen.
Is there any chance Mackay gets to play any kind of college ball anywhere that you know of? Maybe.
I really think he's got a great chance to play college baseball.
Okay.
I mean, he made All-State last year in a couple of publications. He was all Mid-State Tennessean center fielder. He hit over 400 last year. I don't know how many bases he stole, but it was unbelievable. I mean, if he gets on first base, he's going to be at third base.
Now, your first game in baseball is coming up, this week, too?
Yeah.
Yeah, you get to Cab County.
I want to ask a little bit about baseball. Baseball, unlike basketball, you got field maintenance. You've got field prep. And that's got to be – how do you handle that? Is it assistant coach? Is Coach O's helping you with that, or how do you get your field maintained?
I heard his brother Joey does.
No, absolutely not. No.
Joey's not doing that for you. I thought he told me every time that something needed doing, he was out to help.
I don't even know he has a brother anymore.
Unbelievable. No,
Leon.
Yeah, no. Well, Dad is the concession guy.
Okay? I know that.
He does our baseball concession. Him and Mom have been doing that since I took over the job. But as far as maintenance goes, I have Coach Jake Roberts. He teaches there at the elementary school, and his classroom is right there beside the baseball field. But then again, it goes back to administration. I mean, our fields are still at the junior high.
Still at the middle school.
Still at the middle school. So it is a challenge because, if we've got a little bit of rain that morning and we're trying to get a district game in, Dr. Austin's always been great about the times I can get over there and work on the field and get it done. So we don't have to have a bunch of cancellations. I have teachers that step up and say, hey, I've got you covered this period. Go do this. I mean, it really is a true community when it comes, because sports is important.
Right.
But yeah, as far as the field maintenance goes, it's a challenge, because you not only do you got us in the junior high using the same facility, and when it rains, for us it's so important to get the field ready because we don't have anywhere else to practice.
Do you tarp?
We don't. We had a tarp, but just like all things,
they don't last long.
They don't last long. So
especially we got one that's not very.
Now, you never do what Kenny Parker used to do as a coach at Cascade, and that would be what fast teams coming into town, leave a sprinkler on the night for.
Well, sometimes if we got a team that's pretty quick like that, we'll let the grass grow just
a little bit higher.
Or if we want to bunt a little bit more,
and where he's learned that from.
I don't know.
The real mower may not cut as low that day.
Robbie was at Central when I was there. I think he had the infamous, who was the radio announcers that we had?
It was Hall and
somebody.
It was Anderson guy, and I can't remember who the voice of the Eagles were.
Bill.
Yeah, he was. He'd bring us up after games and stuff and interview. I've actually got some old cassette tapes somewhere.
I do too.
With
Coach Thaxton still got them on the game.
I've got them on where we put audio on our games.
Coach Thaxton, and I played football just 1 year, but Coach Thaxton was the principal at Macon County. My second, I was at Macon County High School with Coach Welch for a few years. And Coach Thaxton came in as the new principal. And I walked in, and he kind of looked up, and I said, Coach, you don't remember me, dude. And sure enough, he did. And I'd only played for him for 1 year. Only had him in class one time. But, yeah, we had Jay for a few years up there. So he's one of the best.
People don't realize, and I'm glad you said that. We said that. Coaching the spring sports, there's more to coaching a spring sport than coaching a spring sport. Field maintenance. I mean, you get days like the weather we've got. You've got to get them in, because especially nowadays with high school pitching and on those number counts, and you can't. Used to you could let your stuff go on back, but you got your pitchers on pitch counts. What is the pitch count rule now? It's so many pitches in so many days, and if you over exceed that, they got to have so many days rest, right?
It's at different increments as far as whatever number you get to. There's a max number, but once you get into the 20s, you got to have a day's rest, and then there's another increment, and then another increment, but you can't pitch more than back-to-back days. So if you're in a 3-game series, if you throw a guy 10 pitches to close a game and then try to come back and throw 10 more that third day, even though he's thrown 20 pitches, you can't throw that third day. So you really have to manage how you do your pitch count. And then after games, we have forms that we've got to sign, and everybody.
That was going to be my next question. How do y'all police yourselves? So does that have to be given to the official?
It doesn't, but the team's just the home team is responsible for having the official count. And that's one of those things that, sometimes as a game goes, you kind of forget to keep up with. But during district games, our coaches are really good about checking every few innings. Hey, coach, what do you have him at? And if you're off 1 or 2, it doesn't matter if you're right or wrong. The home team has the right count. And there's been situations across the state, none to do with us, but where counts have gotten off by a pitch. I want to think a couple of years ago, there was I believe a sectional game or reaching game decided because the home team had 1 pitch more than the visitors, and there was some kind of protest, I believe, and the game went to the home team.
Special message coming in from Mr. Dan Reed. Go Vikings and roll Tide.
Oh, poor Dan. That's the thing. I have Will.
Dan's a pretty good guy,
he's a great guy. But Will Reed is one of my assistants, and he played for me in both sports. And Will has never seen the other side of Alabama sports. He knows nothing about the Mike Prices and those days when Tennessee won about 8 or 9 in a row. These young people only know that Saban era. So I've been counseling him as what's to come. I said, basketball, this is just a preview, okay? I said, if you need to, go that little thing called YouTube.
Right.
Pull up the 90s, okay, and pull up those guys, And I said, look, it's going to happen because nobody, you don't want to be the man after the man. I mean,
no, you don't.
You don't want to be the guy to follow Saban, right? You want to be the guy after that.
We are,
We
are.
So we're glad, we're happy.
I know you
we
are.
sent him a retirement gift and everything. So
we'll be fine.
I think the writing on the wall might have been that field goal that wobbled in. I think he come across the field and said, "Hey, I might need to be done."
Going back to your baseball, a lot of people, when you get in that pitch count stuff, you'll get a lot of fans, a lot of people that go, "Why is he taking him out? He's throwing such a good game. That coach is crazy. Why don't you put Bill in? Bill's can. Did you not see how he did yesterday? He can." They don't know the rules, and it just.
Yeah, that's
I got a baseball question, and maybe this has been this way for a while, but I noticed it a few years ago. When you go to walk somebody, I just say I'm walking you. I don't have to make the pitches.
You can't do that in baseball.
And the pitches don't count against the pitcher in the pitch count. How's that right?
That's right. Yeah, I mean, now we do have the intentional walk.
Y'all do have it.
They do. That's why I'm
you
asking.
Could just say,
doesn't that take part of the game away to where
it does?
Well,
I mean, it does. It's kind of like one of those.
If it's a pass ball and I'm intentionally walking, and then you can still base.
Here's the thing:
changes the game to me.
As Coach Davis has got Bill Anderson coming up to bat and not wanting to throw to him, all right. And he's got his good pitcher out there on the mound. Does he want him to waste 4 pitches that's going to count against his pitch count to walk Bill? Or is it better off for Coach Davis to say, hey, just put him on first. Now I can save 4 pitches.
Well,
which
I'm the
could
hitter,
be an
and
inning.
my hitter wanted to hit, then I'm upset because I want the 4 pitches.
Sorry about your luck.
Yeah, I mean, it does. It's one of those things that has changed the game. It's kind of like in basketball, the 2 free throw rule.
Right.
I mean,
that was a big one.
That was
5 fouls in a quarter and 2 free throws.
No, it's one of those where I kind of like I'd like to ask why. What was our purpose behind it? Because it didn't speed the game up.
No.
Because in a 1-on-1 situation, when you got subs at the table, they're going to call the foul in, then they're going to bring them in, and we're going to play after that shot. Well, now you're shooting 2. You got subs at the table. We're going to shoot the first shot. Then we're going to bring the subs in. It slowed everything down.
And watching how we rebound now off the free throws where we've moved everybody back. You notice that in these games, it's just totally different. Where used to there was a scheme to how you rebounded out of that. That's all gone away.
There's some changes that I think would help the game of basketball, and I don't think that's one of them. I think that we're at the point now where we need to think about moving the 3-point line back.
Right.
19 feet for high school kids, that's not an easy shot, but the percentages, and I think if you want to really affect the game, if you move the 3-point line back, and then coaches now are going to have to really start thinking about, do I want to shoot 30 20-foot shots, or do I want to go, okay, let's get the ball a little bit more inside? Because I think, our program is one of those that we're a rarity now because we're one of those, it's inside. We go inside. If we attempt
some length.
Yeah, well, if we attempt 10 threes in a game, I'm going to go, guys, I don't know. Let's look at our shot selection here, fellas. Right. And there's a point where you're going to have to do it. In district tournament, Grundy County just kind of packed it in on our big guys, and we were forced to shoot it from outside. And, but I think that's one of those things where that would help the game. The 2 free throw thing, the 1-and-1. I mean, think about how many games down a stretch have been changed by, I got to go to the line. We're up 1. I've got to make the first one.
Yeah, I want to foul Kenny Parker because he's not a good foul shooter.
Exactly.
So let me put Kenny on the line. He may miss that. Probably odds are he's going to miss that first one. We can get a rebound and go back. Now we're going to give him 2.
Yeah, at Summertown, we were down 2 with about a minute and a half to go, and we fouled a kid, and we knew that his percentage was pretty low. He goes to the line. He misses both, luckily. But if he'd have made that second one, now that changes. Okay, now I've got to have a 3, okay? Or do I have enough time to get a 2? But if you miss the first one, I just think that, I hope that's something we revisit down the road is go back to the 1-and-1.
Let's take a break here from our sponsors, and then we're going to come back, talk a little college basketball with some stuff coming up. So let's hear it from our sponsors real quick.
Cleaners, we provide quality services you can rely on. Located in Shelbyville, we're the area's leading dry cleaner, proudly serving customers throughout Bedford County since 2001. We provide same-day dry cleaning and laundry service as well as tuxedo rentals. For customer convenience, we offer delivery and also have a drive-through and overnight drop box.
For all your dry cleaning needs, call Corner Cleaners.
And special thanks to our other sponsor, Kincaid
Service
Company.
right here in Shelbyville on Madison Street. Mark and Eve Kincaid and their great staff. They service what they sell, and they'll haul the old one away. Great place to shop, Kenny.
I agree, 100%.
And Robbie Davis, you don't haul stuff off.
Oh no. Only garbage.
You know what Jake Tyre told me? He said the only place that he would haul stuff's out in his yard, and then his wife complained it was sitting there because he would just leave it there. So that's why he has to have Kincaid's come get his stuff too.
Oh yeah, there's certain stuff you got to make sure you get gone. But
I'm gonna disagree with that. If Jake dropped this stuff in his yard, Angie, he ain't got to walk away from it. So she done had it moved. Let me tell you.
Let's talk a little college basketball. I want to start with Coach Rick Insel up the road at
I was
MTSU.
gonna ask about Coach Insel now.
They're playing at 9:30 this morning. I guess they're playing
Championship
right
game.
now. Well, it's the finals of the regular season against Louisiana Tech because you got at the Murphy Center. So MTSU's playing the morning game because you got the state.
Oh,
games.
so their tournament's at MTSU also?
No, the state tournament is.
I'm talking about.
Their tournament will be at Huntsville, Alabama.
Oh, okay. There
And
we
it
go.
starts on Wednesday. MTSU is 25-4. They've won 15 in a row, 15-0 in their conference. And if they beat Louisiana Tech, they'll be 16-0 and run into that tournament. Now, the question I have is they should probably win this tournament. If they don't, do they make the NCAA tournament?
I think they will.
I think they would too. I don't think it'll matter because I think they'll win the
Oh, I
tournament.
think it matters if they get put out early. But if they win a
But they have
game
just
with
really
that, yeah.
dominated Conference USA here. There's been no really close games. in
But they're
conference.
going. But the committee very well could say, "What is Conference USA?"
Yeah, that's what hurts
what do they
MTSU
play?
a lot of
Yeah.
times in the seeding is they'll win 30 games and be a 12 seed.
Mhm.
is this one of those situations? I'm not as knowledgeable about the women's game, but is it one of those situations like Gonzaga's in a lot of times where
Right.
they're a nationally ranked team
Right.
and a conference that's just not very good, and if Pepperdine or one of those teams happens to upset them,
Right.
a lot of times they're getting two teams in.
This has happened in
So,
MTSU before where
Yeah.
they've gotten beaten in the tournament and then they were out with really good ball clubs. I don't
Yeah.
think it'll happen. You never know, though. It's tournament time,
I don't
Yeah.
think it'll happen this year.
but you never know. All right, let's talk a little UT.
Oh.
You got the orange on.
Got
They
the
play
dog-
basketball there.
They do.
Oh.
It's been 3 times the
Yep.
last 47 years, 1967,
Mhm.
2008, and 2024, where the University of Tennessee outright, without sharing it,
Mhm.
won the SEC
Mhm.
regular season.
Absolutely. I mean, I don't does Alabama fans know where the gym's at in Tuscaloosa? I'm not
Yeah,
sure.
that's
they
where we have
do.
the coaching clinic.
That's really where those hard
Right.
hat. That's where they have
Yeah.
coaching clinic. That's
Yeah,
where
there's
it's
a
at.
hard hat
Yeah.
on there now because
Yeah.
I think they're building. But
Yeah.
anyway, let me ask this question: two big UT fans and another one over there. How far will they have to go? They're going to NCAA tournament. They very well could be a number 1 seed. Probably should be.
Probably will be.
All right. How far do they have to go before you go? As a disappointment.
Elite 8 minimum. This is a special team that maybe the best team that I remember in my lifetime that has a real chance at a Final Four and playing for the national championship.
Oh, well, now there you go. Final Four. You said Elite 8.
I
Now
got
you
the
go to-
Elite 8 or I'm disappointed.
Mhm.
I'm going to say that.
I-
Final Four, I'm happy because Tennessee's never been to the Final Four. So get me to the Final Four, I'm
Mhm.
good.
I think it is if everybody stays healthy. Last year losing Ziegler when
That
we
was
did
killer.
it was a killer when
I
you
mean,
lose a
just
guy
killer.
like that. But I think if everybody stays healthy, and I think Elite 8. But again, it's all about that bracket.
Mhm.
ESPN put out one of the brackets this week, and I screenshotted it and sent it to Todd and Jason in our little group chat. And I said, hey, look at these matchups, right? Because it's all for Tennessee, it's all about matchup. If you get teams that want to just run up and down and shoot, that's their game. But it's those teams that have that half court, grind it out, the Purdue's of the world,
Right.
where they're okay with playing a game in the 50s and 60s those are the teams that give Tennessee problems because they kind of match what they do.
Will Tennessee be 1, 2, 3, or 4 of the 4? 3 or 4?
I think if they win today, and
If they win the tournament.
if they win the tournament, they're definitely one of the top. But
I'm talking about in the seed one.
Yeah,
1 seed, 2
They're
seed,
going to be
3
more
seed.
of a 4. They're going to probably bump Arizona out.
Yeah, bump Arizona out, or if Kansas can beat Houston today,
Right, that could happen.
which is possible.
So they could be the 3rd seed.
They could be
the
the
4.
They
Yeah,
could make a 3rd or the 4th of the ones.
Yeah, I think UConn and Purdue
That's
are
gonna be the
your
1 and
top
2.
1 and 2s.
What
But-
about Houston? Somebody I heard was talking about Houston real
Well, they're a
big.
2. But they
Yeah.
could lose to Kansas today.
They play
Okay.
Kansas today at home, and then it just depends. I think if you beat Kentucky, you win one game in the SEC tournament. I think Tennessee is your number 4 1 seed
I do
for
too. I
sure.
agree with that.
Just because you
And
look
I don't know how far you really want to play in the SEC tournament. If you
Right,
beat
yeah.
Kentucky today,
Yeah.
you kind of got it wrapped up. Do you really want to go all weekend?
that
From a rest
Wait,
perspective,
let me tell you.
I'm sure Tennessee does.
Go back to what you just said. This is the first year they've in how many? Only like 4. Yeah, I'm gonna win the tournament.
Well, sure.
Why do you play the game? You
But
play to win.
if you,
Yeah,
if
I'm
you
gonna
lose
win
after
the
the first
tournament.
game, I don't know that it hurts you.
Do
Yeah.
what?
I don't know that it hurts you because then you're going into the end. Because I'm telling
Hey,
you,
I'm
the,
gonna tell you
the
right now.
committee has their mind made up on Friday.
on Friday.
When
It
It's-
does
yeah,
not matter.
When-
What happened Saturday and Sunday?
When is the tournament? When's it start?
Next weekend? Next week.
Thursday.
Thursday next week. So Tennessee plays in the first round of the tournament. This is hypothetical stuff. And Coach Saban don't like hypotheticals either. And they get beat the first round of the tournament. We come in here the next day and we do this show. Are you going, that game didn't matter?
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm going to say. That they will win the first game probably because it'll either be Texas A&M or Arkansas.
Yeah.
The big thing today to keep an eye on is you've got Tennessee and Kentucky at 3,
Mhm.
but you've got a real mess here about who gets the double bye in the SEC.
Oh, yeah.
Tennessee won it.
Yeah.
Kentucky's got a chance to be at the 2.
Mhm.
Auburn, Alabama, South Carolina all time.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's crazy.
Auburn, I think, has the easiest road
Right.
today to be able to lock one of those in. I just cannot see Kentucky unless Kentucky comes out and shoots a crazy percentage like they did in Kentucky. But the problem is
Well, they better play some defense.
they don't
too.
defend anybody.
They don't defend anybody.
And that's one of those mind-blowing things about, as good a coach as Calipari is, you would think at some point he locks those guys in the room and says, hey, we're not an NBA franchise. We need to play defense to win some of these games against good basketball.
And I'll say this,
But
Kenny, this is Alabama's problem.
the
They
guys-
don't play defense.
The guys he recruits are NBA. That's what they're thinking. Alabama, to me, I don't keep up with it. And like I said a couple of weeks ago, they just not playing well.
Yeah.
They're
Well,
not
they don't play
playing well.
defense. No, they don't even
And
attempt to play defense.
They haven't played defense in a while.
Yeah.
And again, it's like Robbie said, and like you said, if they decide to play defense,
Mhm.
they're a different team.
They are. And with Alabama, it's all about who's taking the shots, too. That's one of the things when you watch them play,
Mhm.
when they're going a scoring drought, like when Tennessee got the lead on them, you had guys taking shots that are only averaging 6, 7, 8 points a game.
Right.
You go get Dalton connect the ball, right? You go
Right.
get those type guys the ball and say,
Alabama, you want Spears
you
scoring.
want Spears scoring. And then there was a stretch there about 2 minutes. Spears didn't touch the ball. So I don't know. I mean, that's one of those where I think a coach, you got to call a timeout and say, fellas, I know you're open, but there's a reason you're open.
And
Okay.
that goes back to, how coachable are the players?
Yeah.
How coachable are they? What's their mentality in the head? I'm gonna tell you, I heard Tennessee guy talking about the other day. They just come off. Who was it South Carolina? They had just played and beat,
Mhm.
and he goes, "Okay, we got to pick up our defense. This is one of their players. We got to pick up our defense." And I'm glad people are starting to put emphasis on defense.
Well, Barnes always
Because,
says, you don't play defense, you're sitting on the bench.
We've always said offense wins games and defense wins championships.
Well, one of the biggest things for me, the reason I think this Tennessee team is special, timeout during the Alabama game, and I know you guys saw it, you had Vescovi with the playboard in his hands.
Yes.
And he's going over, here's what they're doing, here's how we're defending it. Barnes is letting him do it. When you've got a team like that, you've got something special because the players are listening. It's a player-led team. It's not Barnes demanding. It's the players demanding.
And I've noticed Barnes has been a lot better about making in-game adjustments and changing than in past years, such as all of a sudden, if you're going to triple team connect,
Yeah, absolutely.
he's going to take a dude and bring a Waku in, and they're going to go inside on you and burn you. And a dude is a kid that's gotten so much better.
Oh, so much better. And Tennessee's bench, just doesn't get the credit.
No, they really don't.
You know, they've got some guys that can come out and just flat out defend guys.
Yes.
You know, and just kind of do their job and do what they're supposed to do. I mean, and that's the thing, you know, today Kentucky may come out and just double team connect. Well,
They did that in Lexington.
Vescovy could go for 20 or go for 25.
Sounds like to me what I'm hearing, because I don't keep up with basketball and all this. That one thing we always talk about, chemistry, chemistry in the locker room. Sounds like to me, just listening to you and Bill, sounds like Tennessee's got some pretty good chemistry.
Oh yeah,
in
and
their
they got,
locker
you
room.
know, you've got
Josiah
Jordan James.
This
you got
kid
Vescovy.
here that's our leading scorer, he don't mind sharing it, giving his points over to you, or giving his points over this way, as long as they go on our side of the scoreboard.
That's
up there.
exactly
It doesn't really matter.
Well, you've got Vescovy and James, who are the old, I call them the COVID seniors, because they've been there like 5-6 years.
Yeah, this is their second.
Makes a huge difference.
It's their
if you've been
second
there that
senior
long.
night. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they're going through senior day again for the second time because they understood, hey, here's what's coming back. This is important. This is special. You know, we may play on the next level, but you know, the way NIL and all this stuff is going now, I said, you find those kids that are just good college athletes, that are good college players, and you can keep them in your program like Barnes has done. I mean, to me, there's where your championship. Now you got to have one or two, you know, NBA talent guys to go along with it. But to me, I mean, you know, knock on wood, this is one of the best runs, best chances they've got in a while to get to the Final Four. So
I think you're a Final Four team.
I do too.
I hope so.
Hit me, Mr. Titan. What's the Titans got going on right now?
Well, you got free agency, I think, coming up. So we'll just have to see what happens this weekend and what direction we're going in. Start, I think, Monday, I think, is when it starts. So right now, nothing.
What do you?
But I think you'll see the direction they're going quickly.
All right. Drafting. What we're looking at draft.
Get through free agency first. I'm now thinking the Titans are going to trade out down at 7. That's what I think they're going to trade down.
What's the Titans' biggest need? You know, Kenny Parker is an offensive lineman.
Yeah.
If they can find somebody to trade down 4 or 5 picks and maybe pick up a
third-round pick you don't have,
a second-round pick or a third-round pick, because depending on what happens in 1 through 6, 7 could be. I mean, you talk about
there could be a quarterback sitting here that someone's got to have.
There could be a quarterback sitting there, or you know, the Chargers could throw a rink and pick up the Notre Dame tackle, and now you got the Penn State tackle or the Oregon State tackle that somebody down there is really needing. Could jump up and get that. And what's Tennessee need? They need draft picks.
We need draft picks,
and they need linemen.
You need depth.
Yeah.
And that's where I would say one player is not going to fix the Tennessee Titans.
To me,
multiple players.
I'm not a Titan fan, so from the outside looking in, to me, it's always been the Titans draft and the guys that they have taken at certain spots that you go. It's just kind of mind blowing.
Yes.
As to, you know, think about all the receivers that have come through there that have just not panned out.
And that's the Titans have not done a good job in the draft.
Yeah, no, not overall.
Or free agency.
Yeah.
No, you're right.
I mean, to me, I'm like Coach Parker here. I think you start in the trenches, and the way it's such a passing type deal now, you got to have linebackers that can cover. You got to have secondary guys that can cover. Right? I mean, the Chiefs are great on offense, but how good was their secondary?
It was huge.
If you get guys that can lock up man to man,
as good as Mahomes was, that defense was just as good.
Oh, absolutely.
That defense carried them.
It did carry them.
Carried them, sure, absolutely. So I think if the Titans get that, you know, it's not going to be a 1-year fix, not going to be a 2-year fix. You can have a game manager at quarterback as long as you got a good defense.
It's not going to be a 1-year fix, but it could be a 2-year fix with the cap money that they've got.
They have a lot,
and they have a lot. But you don't go out and blow it on one.
No,
like you said, one player's not going to do it. You got to be, and they've made that comment. We got to make sure we spend our money correctly.
Yeah,
and I think they have a great chance of vastly improving their team and surprising some people this year.
Well, they got a new stadium coming. They better.
If they
absolutely. You got to fill them.
You better do it quick.
They're not going to have near as many people to fill that new stadium as they got the old one. because it's nowhere near as big.
But it's way more expensive.
But it's not. But here's the thing: it is going to be more expensive, but it's going to be utilized more than the
Right.
old one is now. So there's going to be other venues that's going to help defray that. But
do you think that with this new stadium, Titans get a Super Bowl?
Yes, absolutely. I
think so,
guarantee you
too.
that's a done deal.
I think
deal.
so. I think the NFL.
Every new stadium is every
Yeah.
team that's gotten them a new stadium got a Super Bowl.
I think the NFL.
I
would be wise to
understand
do
that, but you look how big these new stadiums they have. You talk about you're going to have to fill that. This new stadium is not going to be very big.
But I think too,
it's
though,
not that much different. 60,000
Yeah.
versus 70. Was it 10,000?
Where was the Super Bowl last year?
Where was it? Detroit.
Dallas.
it was down. But I think with the Super
Dallas
Bowl,
and
Detroit's
LA.
getting one.
Look how big those stadiums are. Those stadiums are in the 90s.
Part of the deal, though, if you build the stadium, the NFL gives you one
Yeah.
Super Bowl. That's
And-
just the way it's been.
well, the other thing too is think about who goes to the Super Bowl
And
games.
it's
your
national.
celebrities. It's celebrities. It's the
national.
TV people. It's not
It's Nashville.
us common fans. We're not getting in
And
that.
plus,
in
the
that
way
Super Bowl.
Nashville handled the draft when it was here
Oh,
is
absolutely.
another
I don't disagree.
kudo in Nashville's corner.
Don't disagree with that either. But you know,
That was the
it's
best draft ever.
It's them rubbing fingers.
Yeah.
It's money.
Coach Davis, we appreciate you, man.
Yes, sir,
We
Rob.
enjoyed it.
Absolutely. This is fun.
Let's
Good.
go
You
make
got to
it-
come back. We'll
make
have
it
you back
another
anytime.
2 years.
Now, is this going to cost you a draft pick, right, in our fantasy
That's
draft?
what- that's
I
what-
think this is the
You know,
deal.
it may
So
cost me a draft pick.
I think we can get this on
I
film
think
here.
you get his number one.
Well, I tell you, there's a lot of maneuvering that goes on in our potbelly draft. You know, you got Todd Bobo, the commissioner,
Boy, it's a
Jason
good thing
Boyette,
I ain't in
boy.
that pot belly draft.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, you better watch Robbie Davis all the time.
Hey, we've been doing this since what? I think it was 2004 or 5. We've been getting together doing this live draft. It is
Do it
the
at Rural
most
Country Club.
fun.
It is fun.
Who's the reigning? Who won it last year?
The Jason Boyette, the commissioner. He got the
Shocking.
trophy. He's got the trophy.
What
Yeah.
about Bill? How well was Bill
Hey,
doing?
Bill,
Give us the truth now.
Bill and Todd Bobo are the two guys every year that when you leave the draft, you go, they're going to win it. And guarantee you, Bill has some of the worst luck. Todd, there'll be an injury. There'll be some guy will be out for like 3 or 4 weeks.
And then Todd and I are trading with each other, trying to get out of the
trying
hole.
to scramble.
I'm the big free agent here. I've never played in what do you call those fantasy football leagues?
Oh yeah. Well,
that I ever lost. I've won every one of them I ever played in.
well, at the bottom of our trophy,
How many? 3.
3.
And the first one I ever played in, I let the computer pick my team, and because I didn't know what I was doing, I let the computer pick my team, and then it was over with. My son said, "Daddy, here's your team." And I said, "Get rid of that one. Get rid of that one. Get rid of that one. Let me see who's left."
sounds like to me though he's playing in the JV league.
Yeah, it does.
You know what I'm saying?
It does.
You know,
It does sound like
it
a
sounds
JV
like
league.
because at the bottom of our trophy, we got a nice little trophy.
Don't overthink it.
Yeah, at the bottom we put who wins it, right? And right beside there's my name, and there's a whole lot of little slash marks right there. But yeah, 4-time champ.
Tell you
4-time champ.
what you better do with us too. You better be ready, or you'll get embarrassed when you're not.
Oh, that's the truth, and you will get made fun of. We had a guy, Bubba Shavers, one of my dear
Don't
friends.
you talk about Bubby drives a bus for me.
Bubba drafted a guy one time that was going to jail.
How
And
about the
then-
time he drafted 2 kickers?
And then he drafts a kicker, okay? Forgets he has the kicker. Goes up, takes another kicker, okay? And of course, we're all going, "Oh my God, Bubba, what are you doing?" Right on cue, Bubba looks right at it and says, "Indoor kicker,
Outdoor kicker. He sure did it.
Right on cue,
He
boys.
sure did it.
Sure did it.
There we go.
Well, let's
Sure
wrap
did.
this thing
All
up.
right.
Everybody get out and support the community baseball,
Yes.
travel baseball, Cascade baseball, softball. Everything's hitting this week, so get out and support everybody.
Soccer.
Soccer.
Let's thank our sponsors real quick. Corner Cleaners right here in Shelbyville,
Mm-hmm.
and First Bank. Let's thank them as well, and Kincaid
Service.
Company.
right here in Shelbyville as well. All local sponsors of
Thank you for
Bedford County
tuning in.
Athletics.
Thank you for tuning
Absolutely.
in.
Absolutely.
Coach Davis. We appreciate you.
Absolutely. We do this again sometime.
Absolutely, we're going to have you back on.
Not in 2 years. It's got to be sooner.
Gotta
than
be
that
sooner
now.
than that.
Got to be
Depends on
sooner
how many
anytime
draft-
you want to come
Well,
on.
How many draft picks can I get
That's
here?
right.
You know?
That's right. Hey, everybody, we'll also have the Chase Jones show coming up Wednesday. If the weather's pretty, David and I are going to go out to the facility maybe. If the weather's pretty, we're hoping to do that with Coach, but look forward to that on Wednesday at 5:30, one way or the other. I was under the weather this Wednesday, so why we didn't do it was on me. But we're going to do it this Wednesday for sure, unless something comes up weather-wise and we move things around. Hey, everybody, thanks for watching, and we will see y'all right here at 9 o'clock.